as you grow, you want to be able to grow your loan programs that you have available for your clients. So it's been really cool to be able to see some of the people that I helped buy their first home now buying investment properties and, getting that generational wealth, because unless you're a trust fund baby, man, real estate's the way to build wealth.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Animal House, the house, the hoss, the legend. I'm Annalise Everton, aka Animal, and I'm a realtor in the state of Virginia, specifically the Hampton Roads area. Here on Animal House, we like to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the exciting parts of real estate, the personal, the professional, and everything in between. I am here today with Alex Brown.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Happy to be here.
Yay. I'm really excited to talk to Alex today because she is one of my go-to lenders. We just have a really, really good rapport. We've built an awesome friendship over the years, and it's just easy working with her. She's very transparent, and she makes her clients understand every single thing it is that they have to go through in the very lengthy process of purchasing a home.
Well, thank you. I like to be transparent. I wear my heart on my sleeve, inside and outside of the office. But I do believe that it's more important to prepare yourself during the pre-approval process than anything to make the transaction go smooth. Anytime we have an issue that's outside of an appraisal, it's typically because the pre-approval just wasn't super solid. So.
Yeah. So we like to cover that ahead of time.
Yes, definitely.
So can you tell me a little bit about your beginnings and what brought you to Virginia and the mortgage industry?
Yeah, so honestly, fell into it. I graduated in Missouri. I grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin, went to school in Missouri for Spanish, and no, I cannot take your application in Spanish. I can just order drinks in Mexico. But so I graduated and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And a friend got me my first job in the mortgage industry. And then that company moved from the Midwest and opened a branch out here in 2009. So I was the first employee at that particular company and was there 16 years, primarily doing VA loans. So I just moved to a new company and have expanded my repertoire and really trying to help some self-employed borrowers now. So it's kind of
okay. So you would say your biggest focus in the beginning of your career was towards the VA buyer, the VA home loan.
Definitely. I mean, the area we're in clearly, and the other company I was working for, that's their niche. So now that a lot of my past clients are getting out of the military, and a lot of people tend to open up their own business, especially in this area. I feel like, I don't know why, it's just a higher concentration of self-employed people and a lot of investors.
Right.
So, as you grow, you want to be able to grow your loan programs that you have available for your clients. So it's been really cool to be able to see some of the people that I helped buy their first home now buying investment properties and, getting that generational wealth, because unless you're a trust fund baby, man, real estate's the way to build wealth.
That's so interesting. So you have evolved with your clients over all the years that you've been doing mortgage, and you have such a good reputation that they're coming back to you. They're ready for a different loan type, and they're getting more creative with their life.
Exactly. Yes.
So what would you say do you have a favorite loan type, or is that a weird question?
It's not a weird question. A VA loan's still my favorite.
Okay.
Just because I think they're easy.
Okay.
And I really like seeing a military family buy a house. It's just exciting. But my favorite part of the process, this is kind of a different answer, maybe not quite to the question, is solving problems. We don't like problems, but I like maybe not even solving a problem that occurs, but in the beginning, trying to figure out the best route for someone to take. What do you want to spend? What do you want your payment to be? What does everything look like?
Right.
Financially undress yourself, so to speak.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. And then I can guide you in the right direction. So.
Okay. Well, and that to me makes it sound like that's why you're so great at your job and why people keep coming back to you, because people want somebody to solve their problems for them.
That's true. Yes, definitely.
I want people to solve my problems for me. So
me too.
They say that realtors should not be answering mortgage questions, right?
We all do want to stay in our lane for sure. I try to do that. Yes.
Yeah. So, There are certain things that I feel comfortable answering because I've been through it several times.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, everybody's situation is different.
Yes.
So I always direct them back to you. But such a solid relationship to have a good lender with a good realtor so that we can collectively solve problems for the clients.
Definitely. Yeah. You want to be able to, feel like everybody's on the same page and we're all working towards the same goal. That's when a transaction goes smooth, in my opinion, is when everybody reminds themselves that we're all on the same team, even the agent representing the other side. Everybody wants this transaction to close, and it's a sensitive time in the buyers' lives and the sellers.
Yeah.
So we just always have to keep that in mind and be extra sensitive to people's emotions during the time. So I always say I'm not a therapist or an attorney, but sometimes it feels like you wear those hats.
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah.
We absolutely wear those hats. I definitely feel like a lawyer on a lot of days.
Yes, but we always preface it by, I am not an attorney.
Yeah.
However.
Not a therapist. However, tell me all your problems.
Yes. Well, and then, naturally, so I'm very involved in the special needs community, right?
Right.
I have a son on the autism spectrum, and I'm the president of Aid Another, which is a nonprofit here that supports inclusion with special needs kids. And so that's something that I usually do, connect with my clients on as well. Like,
Yeah.
being able to refer them.
Yes.
So that's another hat that I wear is like,
Yeah.
okay, how can I help your kiddos and
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah. We get really close with our clients.
We do.
So,
Yes.
especially if you're super involved in an organization like that, that's really near and dear to your heart because of your kids being involved,
Mhm.
that just brings it to a whole nother level.
Yeah, definitely.
So, getting into other loan types, I know that recently, like you said, you've gotten with another company now where you're kind of able to have a little bit more creativity, and you're able to work with some buyers, I guess you could say, or clients that may not have a typical W-2 or things like that. So what would those loan types be?
So I've got a couple quick examples. Asset depletion. So I'm working with someone that's currently not employed. However, they have quite a large amount of money in assets.
Okay.
So we're qualifying them on the assets alone, which is interesting.
Okay. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah. So that's different. That's a brand new loan product that I've been doing. And then we have the bank statement loan, which, going back to the self-employed borrowers, you file your taxes, and after all your write-offs, that's the income that we're going to be able to qualify you for on a standard loan that goes through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac.
Okay.
So when that doesn't work out because of your write-offs and your income looks lower on your tax returns, if you're the owner of your business, then we can use your bank statements and qualify you on your aggregate deposits, because then we're using the income that's coming in instead of after you've written things off. It is a non-QM loan, non-qualified mortgage. It does not go through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Okay.
Back in the day, we called those subprime loans.
Subprime.
But we don't like those words anymore. Now we
No.
call them non-QM. Honestly, though, it's not the same. It's not stated income. We are still verifying these deposits. We're verifying you own the business, but it's going to allow someone to qualify for more. And then down payment requirements are a little bit higher, as well as, the interest rates are a little higher. But this can take someone from not being able to buy a house to being able to buy.
Yeah.
And if having less write-offs means you're going to bring way more money to the IRS, wouldn't you rather just put that money towards a down payment on the house?
Yeah.
Even if you have to put more money down for that loan program. So
Would one of your hats be like an accountant hat? Do you ever?
no. That's so funny you asked me that, because Aid Another, back to the nonprofit, before I was the president, they wanted me to be the treasurer. And I was like, you guys, I'm not an accountant.
Right.
I don't know how to use QuickBooks.
Right.
It's completely different.
separate.
Yeah. So I, just making numbers work for, finances.
Okay.
Definitely don't have an accounting degree.
Yeah, and I don't mean that.
It's hard.
I just mean like one of those hats again that maybe if you see something, you're able to help somebody in a situation with these non-QM loans or subprime. That word is hilarious to me, by the way.
I know. Yeah.
Then at some point, I guess you have some sort of background in.
Yeah, well, back to solving problems, right? Like, people need to look at the bigger picture of their finances. Like, sometimes people get very confused. Well, I'll just put more money down. Why don't you pay off your $10,000 loan that's $400 a month?
Yep.
because that's freeing up $400 that
Right.
goes towards your mortgage payment. Now, I think people make the mathematical concepts of the loans sometimes too hard, and
Right.
they're really not. If you think about in a 30-year mortgage, there's 360 months, right? $5,000 spread over 360 months is not going to do anything to qualify you for more or change your monthly payment. If you paid a $5,000 loan off, that was $300 a month payment, then you really changed what you qualify to. So that's the sort of thing I like to. So I guess that
Problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to that.
Yeah. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that because that's definitely not common knowledge, I would say.
No,
I
no,
think-
we don't learn it in school.
Exactly.
We learn how to play recorders.
Yeah. We learn how to play recorders, and we learn not to light fires in the woods.
Yes, stop, drop, and roll. I've never had to stop, drop, and roll.
Literally never had to stop, drop, and roll. I feel like we should do that later, though. We should practice. It's been a while.
Yeah, no one's ever offered me free drugs either, so I don't know about the DARE program.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We might want to edit that out.
Yeah. I don't think so, because no one's ever offered me free drugs either, and I'm still waiting. So I'm just kidding. So now that we're on this kind of vibe, I'd love to hear any silly. Well, I guess like I said, we love a good horror story, and
Yes.
I know that you do several loans. You close several loans daily, so
Well, no, I wish.
monthly.
So,
tell me something that has happened that has kind of halted a process for somebody, or just been.
I mean, I think the biggest one that I still tell clients to this day, even though it happened like over 10 years ago, was, we monitor if someone else is pulling your credit, because we want to know if you open up any new debt. Since, we get your credit report at the beginning of the process, we're not going to keep re-pulling your credit, but we're going to monitor if you have it pulled by someone else. So, if an auto loan company shows up on a credit pull, we're going to ask you about it. And that's exactly what happened. A buyer closed on a Friday afternoon. So when that happens, the courts aren't open on the weekends. Right. So really your loan kind of gets recorded at the courthouse and funds on the next business day on Monday. So I got to my office Monday morning and I had an email that this client had opened up a truck payment. I mean, it was like a $75,000 truck. I guess he wasn't
and that's
in
10
enough,
years ago.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't in enough debt at that $300,000 mortgage when he left the table to buy a truck.
Add $75,000 more.
I mean, we had to verify the debt. Luckily, he qualified still, but he could have either had to get rid of the truck or lose the house. So, yeah.
So they signed. So essentially, they did their final walkthrough. They went Friday afternoon, signed on the dotted line, got the keys, started moving in. How did they even? I wonder how.
No, they literally drove from the closing table to the car dealership. Had to have been.
Oh, okay. That must have been fun to see on Monday morning when you're like, let me finish funding this loan.
Yeah, it was like, ooh.
Okay, no.
So anyway, so that always sticks out. But now I always tell people that story.
And then you do, I know you do videos. So some lenders may or may not do this, but you are one of the good lenders that will do, instead of just a really long email every time there's something for the buyer to consider the next step in the process, you're doing videos.
Yes. So what's really cool is my company has generic ones they email out, which I like. Mm-hmm. But then I have my own personal touch emails that I send to clients too. So
they can, because the process is so daunting for so many people.
Yes. And you get so much information, right? Then you can go back and look at it again.
It's easier to have it in writing, but also have a video to kind of put a little bit more clarification on the matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I wish more lenders would do stuff like that because.
Well, yeah, and it saves yourself some time too because you're going to be answering a lot of the same questions over and over.
Right.
So, and it's not that you don't want to be available on the phone for every single person at every time, but you need to be able to maximize time. So it helps. It's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to bring up a horror story that we had together.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you remember this. It was actually about a year ago now.
Okay.
So you've closed like 70,000 loans since then.
No, but I do block things out. So we'll see. Yeah. It'll come back.
Yeah. So we had a client, she was buying a new construction home, and the contractor or the builder that purchased one lot with a house that they tore down. They then built 2 houses on this lot. Brand new, beautiful houses.
It's all coming back to me now.
Okay, so you kind of remember. All right, so essentially somebody closed on the first house 1 month, and then the next month we were supposed to close on the next house. Well, when we went to go do the binder and all that stuff, the title company realized that the first purchaser now owned both houses because they didn't record properly when
Yeah.
am I saying this
so
right?
like technically he owned her house. I mean,
And then the craziest part is title company calls the guy to come in and sign an amendment saying that he only owned the one property, and he wouldn't sign it for like 2 weeks.
I think he thought, like, at the end of the day, in the back of his mind, like, oh, I'm going to get the second house. But it clearly would have gone to litigation. But what a nightmare for our first-time home buyer. I mean,
Yeah, and especially that was a military home buyer, and they
Yeah.
only had a certain amount of time to get closed on this house. She was telling me towards the end, like, I'm going to have to pull out of this transaction
yeah.
and get something else. And that was upsetting to me because, first of all, the house was gorgeous. I was super excited for it. It was perfect.
Yeah.
But also, we had done so much work to get to the point that we were at. And for this guy to just act like, well, I'm going to get this second house, or I'm going to get money from the builder, or whatever it was he thought,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just being like a good person, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and being like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Let me come sign this.
Yeah,
sheet.
what a weird
Obviously,
thing that happened.
And then now you've got to live next door to this dude.
I didn't even think about that.
Now she's like living next door to this crazy person who thinks whatever they thought. But wasn't that insane?
Yeah. Yes. See what you just...
Well, and so we worked with the title company on that mostly, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff that the title company does behind the scenes, you know, sometimes I don't even think they tell us when bad things happen. They just fix it.
Yeah. Well, I remember you were as helpful as you could be with that.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't put it past me. I have driven to a homeowners association's office before and banged on the door when it literally says no appointments in person because they wouldn't respond to emails or phone calls.
Right.
No, like, what are you doing?
Gosh, you just triggered another memory of something that we went through. So we were in a situation where the client already lived in the condo. It was 55 plus condo.
Mm-hmm.
And she had worked out a deal with the owner to purchase the house. She got with you, they got with me, and come to find out there was some sort of restriction for the VA loans.
Okay, yes. So typically the VA loans need to be approved. So you'll go on the website as the lender and find this condo approval ID. And the reason that it has to be VA approved is, again, we're going back to the VA always wants to protect the veterans. So they're not buying a house where, you know, the homeowners association is delinquent on their dues, things like that. But a lot of times the reason that they're not VA approved is because of restrictions like 55 plus community, or maybe you can't rent out your place.
Yeah.
And so if an active duty borrower was moving, they would want to make sure they could rent their place out. So all of that rambling to say the borrower or the veteran can request a waiver and still purchase the home even though it's not VA approved.
Right.
And that does not seem to be common knowledge, even though it's a guidance directly from the VA. So
Yeah.
that's how I was able to help her. She just put in writing why she still wanted to buy the house. I mean, she'd been living there, and we moved forward. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like you said, it's not common knowledge. I would say that I think I was blown away by the fact that you made that happen, because I've been in situations where lenders literally just said, we can't do the loan.
yeah, well, it goes back to people having the niche, you know, and knowing,
Yeah.
because there's so many rules for all these different loan products.
Yeah.
So
So for buyers in our market, we have multiple offer situations
Mhm.
pretty frequently still. Are there things that you can do as a lender for any loan type to kind of help a buyer in that situation?
yes, definitely. Well, aside from just reaching out to the agent before they reach out to me,
Right.
that's something that I always try to do. Whenever a realtor I'm working with submits an offer, I say, please give me their information right away, because I want to send them a quick video message. I don't even call or text. I send them a video message. They can
Right.
see my face telling them that I verified all the buyer's income and assets. So to piggyback that, the reason I can tell them that confidently that I verified their income and assets is because I have. And I
Yeah.
try to send most of my buyers through our accelerator program, which means that an underwriter, who's the person that actually approves the loan, looks over my pre-approved buyer's documents And then that way, once they find a house, we're only getting the house approved. They've already, gotten their portion done.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're saying that the actual house needs to get approved through the mortgage process as well.
Exactly. Yes. So it's not just your finances, it's also the property, because you have a title search done and we need to make sure, that the title's clean, and then homeowner's insurance gets set up, termite inspections.
Yep.
And then the appraisal, of course, is the biggest portion.
Okay.
So, a lot of things are outside of your control. So
Right.
that's why you're pre-approved until the end of the process, because we're not done approving the house.
Yeah. And I guess at that point, buyers should be able to relax a little bit, knowing that they're
Yes.
approved, and it's just a matter of things that might be outside of their control.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as they don't quit their job or go buy that truck before closing, then everything's fine. So,
Or that somebody else owns their house by
Yeah.
default.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
and then another big one is just maybe don't put in your notice to your lease until we really know we're done. The appraisal and those third-party items are in.
Yeah. And that's, I think, a big part of that is just people trusting you and being transparent with
Yeah.
you, and the communication is open. So
Yes.
that conversation probably happens.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you so much. And you, again, the organization that you're involved with, Aid Another.
Yes. So I'm the president of Aid Another, and we're a nonprofit that supports inclusion in the special needs community. And we do that with programs and events. So we have a special needs baseball team. We have a weekly special needs dance class. And then we'll also purchase tickets to things out in the community, like Tides baseball games, tickets to see the Admirals hockey team. Because if you're a special needs parent, sometimes outings can be stressful. And so when we're all together, sitting together, it's like we have our little community.
Yeah.
And, that way if your kid has an outburst or something, you're already all there with each other.
Right.
And
Less frustrating, or
it's just, it makes you feel more comfortable to have that. For me, it does. I mean, everyone has their,
I can imagine. Yeah.
So,
that
yeah.
would be
and we do karaoke, and we
Okay.
have tween and teen and adult socials. So
Awesome.
lots of fun things. We'll link the website. And
any
then,
events coming up.
yes, glad you mentioned that. Our gala is our big annual, fundraiser.
Okay.
Couldn't think of the word. Fundraiser. So we are looking for sponsors and auction items.
Okay.
September seems a far away, but gathering those items slowly over the year
Right.
is helpful.
Yeah.
And we hold that the first Saturday in September, and that will be at JT YMCA Camp Grom.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll link the website for Aid Another if you're looking to be a part of an organization like that, or you want to connect with more people that are a part of that organization. Just get in touch with me, or go through the website and get in touch with Alex, and she can.
Yeah, I'll guide you in the right direction. We
Yeah.
always need volunteers too.
Yeah,
So.
that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you
Great.
so much
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, all this information has been truly valuable, and thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you on another episode.
Maybe crazy, but you still amaze me. Maybe crazy, but you still amaze me.